Europe is more than just a continent, it is a living museum of humanity where every corner tells a different story. Stretching from the icy Arctic of Scandinavia to the sun-kissed beaches of the Mediterranean, Europe is a land of contrasts. It is where medieval castles rise above modern skylines, and where timeless villages stand side by side with bustling cosmopolitan cities. Over 40 countries share this space, each with its own language, traditions, and spirit. This diversity is not only geographical but cultural, social, and artistic, making Europe a treasure chest of experiences waiting to be discovered. Europe's beauty begins with its landscapes, each shaped by time, climate, and culture, forming some of the world's most spectacular natural wonders. From north to south, east to west, the continent's geography offers breathtaking contrasts that leave travelers in awe. In the north, the fjords of Norway stand as towering guardians of the sea. Carved by glaciers thousands of years ago, these deep, narrow inlets surrounded by steep cliffs reflect a raw, untouched wilderness. Just beyond lies the Arctic Circle, where the northern lights paint the sky in dancing ribbons of green and purple, a spectacle that feels almost otherworldly. Traveling southward, the Alps rise proudly, stretching across countries like Switzerland, Austria, France, and Italy. These snow-capped peaks are a haven for adventurers, skiers, mountaineers, and hikers alike. Yet they are more than playgrounds. The alpine valleys nurture traditional villages, dairy farms, and vineyards, all shaped by the towering mountains that protect them. Beyond the Alps, the land softens into the rolling hills of Tuscany, where golden fields, cypress-lined roads, and olive groves form a landscape straight from a painting. To the west, the rugged Atlantic coastlines of Portugal and Ireland crash against cliffs, while to the south, the gentle Mediterranean shores glow under endless sunshine. The islands of Greece, dotted with whitewashed homes and surrounded by turquoise waters, embody Europe's most idyllic seaside charm. In Eastern Europe, nature tells a different story. The Carpathian Mountains sweep gracefully across Romania and beyond, home to dense forests, wolves, and bears, wild Europe largely untouched by modern life. The Danube River, flowing across 10 countries, acts as a lifeline linking cultures, economies, and histories while providing lush habitats for countless species. Not to be forgotten are Europe's volcanic landscapes. Iceland, on the edge of the continent, is a land of fire and ice where geysers, lava fields, and glaciers coexist in dramatic harmony. Its natural beauty speaks of the Earth's raw power and creativity. Together, these landscapes are more than scenery. They are the very essence of European identity. They shape traditions, influence cuisine, inspire art, and give rhythm to the lives of the people who dwell among them. To journey through Europe is to journey through nature's grandest gallery, where every horizon unveils a masterpiece. So Europe is often described as a patchwork quilt of cultures, woven together over thousands of years. With more than 40 countries and over 200 languages spoken, it's really one of the most culturally diverse regions on Earth. What makes Europe extraordinary is how these cultures coexist, sometimes blending, sometimes standing apart, yet always contributing to the continent's richness. In the West, the Celtic traditions of Ireland and Scotland still echo through music, folklore, and festivals, reminding us of a time when druids, myths, and ancient rituals shaped daily life. Across the Mediterranean, the Greeks and Romans laid the foundations of Western civilization, philosophy, democracy, and architecture that still influence societies worldwide. Travel north and you encounter the Scandinavians, heirs of the Vikings. Their seafaring ancestors left sagas of bravery, while today's Nordic cultures balance innovation with deep respect for nature. In Central Europe, the Germans, Austrians, and Swiss carry centuries of intellectual tradition, from classical music to modern science. Further east, the Slavic peoples of Russia, Poland, and the Balkans share a cultural kinship, yet, they express it through unique languages, folklore, and Orthodox Christian traditions. The Romani people moving across borders for centuries have left their indelible mark through music, dance, and storytelling. Europe's cultural mosaic is also shaped by religion. Gothic cathedrals soar in France and Spain, while Byzantine domes gleam in Greece and Eastern Europe. Pilgrimage routes like the Camino de Santiago continue to unite travelers in search of meaning, just as they did centuries ago. Meanwhile, Jewish, Islamic, and Christian influences interlace in cities like Sarajevo, Istanbul, and Toledo, where minarets, synagogues, and churches rise together. This cultural variety extends beyond traditions into daily life. From the leisurely café culture of Paris and Vienna to the vibrant tapas nights of Spain, from Italian family gatherings to the communal folk dances of the Balkans, every society expresses its identity through how people gather, celebrate, and live. What makes Europe's cultural mosaic remarkable is not only its depth but its resilience. Despite wars, migrations, and shifting borders, traditions endure, sometimes reinvented, sometimes preserved in their purest form. Together they form a living heritage that makes Europe not one story but 1,000 stories told at once. To walk through Europe is to travel through civilizations, each step a journey through languages, music, art, and customs, each encounter a new piece of the ever-evolving mosaic of humanity. Ancient tribes and heritage. Long before Europe was a continent of kingdoms and nations, it was a land of tribes. Across forests, mountains, and rivers, communities lived in harmony with the land, creating traditions and beliefs that still echo through the ages. These tribes were the first storytellers, warriors, farmers, and craftsmen, laying the cultural foundations upon which modern Europe is built. In the British Isles, the Celts left behind an enduring legacy of myths, stone circles, and spiritual practices tied to nature. Their festivals, such as Samhain, evolved into traditions we still celebrate today. Their intricate knotwork designs, music, and folklore continue to shape Irish and Scottish identity. To the north, the Norsemen or Vikings became both feared raiders and skilled traders. From the fjords of Norway to the rivers of Russia, they spread their seafaring culture, leaving behind sagas and myths of gods like Odin and Thor. Today, Scandinavia proudly honors these ancestors through storytelling, festivals, and even modern-day reenactments of Viking life. In Central and Eastern Europe, Slavic tribes spread across vast lands, each with their own dialects, customs, and folklore. They worshiped nature deities, celebrated seasonal festivals, and passed down oral legends that continue to influence music, art, and belief systems in the region. The Basques, one of Europe's oldest ethnic groups, have survived for millennia in the Pyrenees Mountains, preserving their mysterious language. Unrelated to any other tongue in the world, their dances, music, and communal traditions remain a vital part of European cultural heritage. The Sami people of the Arctic North, reindeer herders of Lapland, are another living link to Europe's ancient tribal past. Their joik songs, colorful attire, and deep respect for nature connect them to a time before borders and modern states. Even in the Mediterranean, echoes of tribal life endure. The Etruscans in Italy and the Thracians in the Balkans once flourished before the rise of Rome and Greece. Their art, rituals, and burial practices remind us of the richness of Europe's earliest civilizations. These tribes may no longer rule the land, but their heritage lives on, in languages, in folklore, in festivals, and in the very way people connect with their past. To explore Europe is to walk among their shadows, living reminders that the roots of identity run deeper than borders, binding people to a shared ancient past. The story of Europe cannot be told without the story of its women. Across centuries, European women have been guardians of culture, keepers of tradition, and pioneers of change. Their influence stretches from the hearth of the family home to the grand stages of politics, art, and science. In the Mediterranean, women embody warmth, resilience, and tradition. In Greece and Italy, grandmothers still pass down recipes, weaving together family bonds through food, storytelling, and song. These women have preserved age-old customs, ensuring that each generation remains connected to its roots. Yet they are not only caretakers of the past, they are also leaders in fashion, business, and cultural innovation. In Northern Europe, women have long been symbols of strength and independence. The legacy of Viking shield maidens lives on in Scandinavia, where modern women are at the forefront of education, equality, and sustainability. In countries like Sweden, Norway, and Finland, women shape societies that rank among the most progressive in the world, blending tradition with modern ideals. Further east in the Balkans and Eastern Europe, women carry a different kind of heritage, one born of endurance. Through centuries of hardship, invasions, and changing borders, they preserved folk traditions through dance, embroidery, and song. Their vibrant costumes and rituals remain vital expressions of identity. Whether in a Bulgarian village festival or a Polish harvest celebration, women stand at the center of cultural continuity. In Western Europe, women have influenced the world through art and intellect. From the muses of the Renaissance to authors like Mary Shelley and Simone de Beauvoir, European women have reshaped literature, philosophy, and art. In modern times, they continue to lead movements in politics, social reform, and innovation, leaving a mark that extends far beyond Europe's borders. But beyond fame and history books, the everyday women of Europe are equally remarkable. The farmer's wife in Romania tending her land, the French baker rising before dawn, the Spanish dancer who keeps flamenco alive, the scientist in Berlin pushing the boundaries of knowledge, all are threads in the rich fabric of Europe's identity. European women embody a duality, grace and strength, tradition and progress, heritage and change. They are not only the heartbeat of Europe's families, but also the voices that guide its future. To understand Europe is to see its women, resilient, creative, and endlessly inspiring. Beyond the bustling capitals and glittering skylines, the true heartbeat of Europe is found in its villages. Here, time moves differently. Narrow, cobbled streets, rustic farmhouses, and communal squares reveal a way of life shaped by centuries of tradition, where modernity touches gently but never fully replaces the old ways. In the countryside of France, village life revolves around vineyards and bakeries. The aroma of freshly baked bread fills the air each morning while neighbors gather in local markets to trade produce, stories, and laughter. Life here is measured not by the rush of the city, but by the seasons of the land. Grape harvests, lavender blooms, and the turning of autumn leaves. Travel to Italy, and you'll find piazzas alive with conversation. Families gather for meals that stretch for hours, where recipes passed down through generations keep history alive on every plate. In Tuscany or Sicily, villagers still celebrate centuries-old festivals with music parades and fireworks, creating a rhythm of life where the community itself is the greatest wealth. In Eastern Europe, village life takes on a more rugged but equally rich character. In the Carpathians of Romania, shepherds guide flocks across mountain meadows, while women weave intricate patterns into textiles that tell stories of ancestry. Harvest festivals here bring the entire community together with music, dancing, and feasts that last deep into the night. Northern Europe's villages, scattered across Scandinavia, reflect harmony with nature. Wooden cottages stand beside lakes and forests where fishing, berry picking, and reindeer herding remain integral parts of daily life. The connection to the land is not just practical but spiritual, tying communities to their ancestors and to the rhythms of the natural world. Across all regions, the essence of village life is community. Neighbors look after one another, traditions are shared openly, and children grow up surrounded by stories, songs, and customs that root them deeply in identity. Even as younger generations move to cities, villages remain cultural anchors, where returning home means reconnecting with heritage. Village life in Europe is not a relic of the past. It is a living tradition, constantly adapting while preserving its soul. It reminds us that true wealth lies not in speed or scale, but in belonging, in shared rituals, and in the quiet beauty of everyday life. If Europe's villages are its heartbeat, then its cities are its pulse, fast, vibrant, and ever-changing. Urban life in Europe is where history and modernity collide, where medieval streets meet futuristic skylines, and where the diversity of the continent comes together in a dazzling display of energy. In London, centuries-old traditions like the changing of the guard unfold against the backdrop of a global financial hub buzzing with innovation, fashion, and culture. The city's double-decker buses and Gothic architecture coexist with glass skyscrapers and multicultural neighborhoods, making it one of the world's most dynamic capitals. Travel south to Paris and the rhythm shifts. The French capital is not only the city of love, but also the city of style and intellect. Sidewalk cafes brim with conversation, while the Eiffel Tower sparkles above a city steeped in art, literature, and history. The energy of Paris lies in its ability to blend romance with revolution, tradition with cutting-edge creativity. In Berlin, Europe's past and future meet head-on. Once divided by a wall, the city is now a thriving hub of music, nightlife, and art. Abandoned factories have been transformed into galleries and clubs, while the Brandenburg Gate stands as a reminder of resilience. Berlin's energy is raw, youthful, and unapologetically free-spirited. Further south, Barcelona radiates color and life. Its streets vibrate with the rhythm of flamenco and the artistry of Gaudi's architecture. Markets overflow with food, festivals fill the nights with fireworks, and every corner seems alive with sound, taste, and movement. Urban Europe is also about contrast. In Rome, ancient ruins rise beside busy streets filled with scooters and cafes. In Amsterdam, canals flow calmly while bicycles weave through modern neighborhoods. In Prague, fairy tale spires crown a city alive with students, musicians, and storytellers. What unites all these cities is their constant reinvention. They are living organisms, growing and evolving with every generation. Their energy comes not only from the rush of commerce and tourism, but from the creativity of their people. Artists, thinkers, entrepreneurs, and dreamers who push boundaries while honoring their heritage. Europe's urban energy is the essence of its modern identity, chaotic yet beautiful, rooted in history yet racing toward the future. To walk its streets is to feel the pulse of a continent that never stops moving, a place where every corner promises discovery and every moment hums with possibility. Nowhere in the world does art and architecture tell a story quite like Europe. Across the continent, cities and landscapes are living museums where each stone, brushstroke, and monument speaks of a time, a people, and a vision of beauty. Europe's art and architecture are not frozen relics of the past. They are living expressions that continue to inspire, evolve, and shape the continent's identity. In Italy, the legacy of the Renaissance still dazzles. Florence gave birth to masters like Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci, and Botticelli, whose works transformed the way humanity saw itself. The grandeur of St. Peter's Basilica in Rome and the intricate frescoes of the Sistine Chapel remain eternal symbols of artistic genius. Walk through Venice and every canal, bridge, and palace feels like a masterpiece painted in stone. Further north, France is a cradle of creativity. Paris, with its Louvre and Musée d'Orsay, houses some of the greatest collections of art ever assembled, from classical sculptures to impressionist paintings. The Gothic spires of Notre Dame and the elegance of the Eiffel Tower stand as testaments to France's ability to reinvent beauty across the ages. In Spain, art takes on bold colors and imaginative forms. The surreal visions of Salvador Dali and the Cubist works of Pablo Picasso continue to challenge perception. Meanwhile, Barcelona's skyline is forever marked by Antoni Gaudi's extraordinary architecture, especially the Sagrada Familia, a cathedral unlike any other on Earth. Central and Eastern Europe carry their own artistic heritage. The Baroque palaces of Vienna, the fairy tale castles of Prague, and the onion domes of Moscow all speak of a past where art was power, religion, and expression intertwined. These cities, adorned with theaters, opera houses, and museums, remain hubs of cultural life. But art in Europe is not only monumental, it lives in frescoes, folk embroidery, and street murals. Architecture thrives not only in palaces but in timber-framed German houses, Scandinavian minimalist design, and the sleek modernity of London's Shard, or Berlin's glass Reichstag dome. Europe's art and architecture embody both permanence and change. They honor tradition while embracing innovation, reminding us that beauty is a universal language. To wander through Europe is to step inside humanity's greatest gallery, where every city is a canvas and every building tells a story etched in stone and time. Food and culinary traditions, yeah, to taste Europe is to experience its soul. Every dish, every recipe carries centuries of history, geography, and culture, passed down through families and reimagined across generations. Europe's culinary traditions are as diverse as its landscapes, blending simplicity with sophistication and local ingredients with global influence. In Italy, food is more than nourishment. It is an expression of love and heritage. Pasta made by hand, pizzas born from wood-fired ovens, and olive oil pressed from family groves are staples of daily life. Meals are long and lively, bringing families together around the table, where food becomes a celebration of community. Across the Mediterranean, flavors shine with freshness. In Greece, feta cheese, olives, and sun-ripened tomatoes form the heart of simple yet unforgettable meals. Spain dazzles with tapas, small plates of seafood, cured meats, and cheeses, perfect for sharing, while paella, rich with saffron and seafood, speaks of Valencia's coastal bounty. France, meanwhile, elevates cuisine into an art form. From buttery croissants and delicate pastries to the refined sauces and wines that, really define French gastronomy, every meal feels like a celebration of flavor and tradition. In Central and Eastern Europe, food reflects resilience and resourcefulness. Hearty stews, dumplings, and breads sustain communities through those long winters. In Hungary, paprika spices goulash, and in Poland, pierogi stuffed with potatoes, cheese, or mushrooms warm both stomach and spirit. These dishes are not just meals, but memories, connecting people to the land and to their ancestors. The north of Europe tells its story through the sea and the forest. Scandinavian cuisine features salmon, herring, and reindeer, often paired with berries, rye bread, and dairy. Modern Nordic cooking has honestly reinvented itself, gaining worldwide recognition for its emphasis on purity, sustainability, and local ingredients. Yet it remains rooted in the traditions of simplicity and respect for nature. Beverages are just as integral to Europe's culinary heritage. From the vineyards of Bordeaux to the rolling hills of Tuscany, wine has been perfected over centuries, and honestly, each glass really reflects its terroir. Beer, too, is celebrated, Germany's Oktoberfest being probably the most famous tribute to brewing traditions. And in England, tea remains not just a drink but a cultural ritual, embodying comfort and connection. Food in Europe is never only about taste. It is about identity, memory, and belonging. Whether enjoyed in a Michelin-starred restaurant or a humble village kitchen, each dish carries a story. To explore Europe's culinary traditions is to savor its diversity, one bite at a time. In Europe, festivals are more than entertainment. They are living traditions that bind communities, celebrate heritage, and keep history alive through music, dance, and ritual. Each country, each region, has its own calendar of celebrations, turning the continent into a year-round stage of color, rhythm, and joy. In Germany, the world-famous Oktoberfest transforms Munich into a sea of music, laughter, and tradition. Dressed in dirndls and lederhosen, locals and visitors alike raise their steins to toast centuries of Bavarian brewing. But beyond the beer tents lies a deeper spirit of camaraderie, family gatherings, and cultural pride. Travel south to Spain, where celebrations pulse with fire and passion. In Valencia, Las Fallas lights up the city with towering papier-mâché figures burned in a blaze of spectacle. Seville's Feria de Abril fills the streets with flamenco, horse parades, and traditional dress, while Pamplona's running of the bulls remains one of Europe's most daring and controversial traditions. Italy offers its own blend of festivity and beauty. Venice's carnival, with its elaborate masks and costumes, turns the canals into a surreal theater of mystery and elegance. Meanwhile, Siena's paleo horse race is not just a sporting event, but a fierce contest between city districts steeped in medieval rivalry and pageantry. In Ireland and Scotland, Celtic roots come alive through music festivals, Highland games, and St. Patrick's Day parades that unite local pride with global celebration. Bagpipes, folk dances, and storytelling echo ancient tribal traditions, connecting modern communities with their ancestral past. Eastern Europe brims with folk festivals tied to the land and the seasons. In Poland, harvest festivals blend gratitude with pageantry, while in Romania and Bulgaria, Colorful costumes and circle dances preserve centuries-old rituals. Orthodox Easter, celebrated across the Balkans, fills towns with candlelight processions and feasts that unite families and neighbors. Even the far north has its own unique celebrations. In Lapland, the Sami people honor reindeer culture through festivals of song, costume, and yuak chanting, preserving an indigenous heritage that thrives in harmony with nature. What unites all of Europe's festivals is their ability to bring people together. They are moments when the old meets the new, when communities open their arms to strangers, and when joy transcends language or borders. In every parade, every firework, every dance, Europe reveals its beating heart, one that celebrates life itself. Music and dance. If festivals are Europe's heartbeat, then music and dance are its rhythm. Across the continent, every culture expresses itself through sound and movement, creating traditions that are as old as Europe itself and as fresh as today's trends. In Spain, the passion of flamenco tells stories of love, sorrow, and defiance. The stamping feet, clapping hands, and haunting guitar riffs transform village squares and grand theaters into stages of raw emotion. In Ireland, the quick steps of Celtic dance and the lively reels of fiddle and flute carry echoes of ancient gatherings where communities found joy and unity in music. To the north, Scotland's bagpipes resound through the Highlands, their stirring notes marking everything from battles to weddings. In Scandinavia, folk fiddles, accordions, and traditional circle dances celebrate the connection between people and the land, often performed under the glow of the midnight sun. Central Europe gave the world classical music, with Austria and Germany as its cradle. The compositions of Mozart, Beethoven, and Strauss still echo in concert halls, while Vienna's grand ballrooms host waltzes that have enchanted generations. Yet the same region also pulses with folk traditions, accordion-driven polkas, alpine yodeling, and rustic dances that unite entire villages. In Eastern Europe, music and dance carry fiery intensity. The Romani people brought forth soulful violins and fast-paced dances that spread across borders, influencing Hungarian czardas and Balkan folk traditions. In Bulgaria and Romania, intricate rhythms and colorful costumes transform every performance into a vivid display of cultural pride. Modern Europe embraces innovation without losing tradition. From the techno beats of Berlin's nightclubs to London's global music scene, cities have become melting pots of sound, blending electronic, jazz, hip-hop, and rock with Europe's ancient rhythms. Contemporary dance festivals now stand alongside centuries-old folk events, creating a dynamic fusion of past and present. But what makes European music and dance extraordinary is their role in community life. They are not confined to stages or records. They thrive in village squares, wedding halls, and family gatherings. They are shared experiences where audiences become participants, where heritage becomes alive. To move through Europe is to move with its music, to feel its history in every song and every step. From flamenco's fire to the elegance of the waltz, from bagpipes in the Highlands to violins in the Balkans, Europe sings and dances its story to the world. Fashion and lifestyle. Europe is not only a land of history and tradition, it's also a global stage for style, elegance, and the art of living. From the haute couture houses of Paris to the rustic wardrobes of rural villages, fashion and lifestyle in Europe reflect both its diversity and its timeless sense of identity. In France, fashion is more than just clothing, it's a language of expression. Paris, the world's fashion capital, sets trends with designers like Chanel, Dior, and Louis Vuitton, whose creations define elegance across the globe. But beyond the catwalks, the everyday Parisian style, effortless, chic, and understated, has become an international symbol of sophistication. Italy, too, embodies glamour and craftsmanship. Milan's fashion scene is a powerhouse of creativity, blending tradition with innovation. Tailored suits, leather shoes, and iconic brands like Gucci and Prada speak of centuries-old dedication to quality and design. Yet Italian lifestyle goes beyond fashion. It is seen in slow meals, lively piazzas, and a passion for beauty in every detail of daily life. In London, fashion takes on boldness and individuality. From the refined heritage of Savile Row tailoring to the edgy street styles of Camden and Shoreditch, British fashion thrives on creativity and reinvention. Lifestyle here blends tradition with modernity. Afternoon tea and royal pageantry exist alongside one of the most multicultural, dynamic cities in the world. Beyond the capitals, Europe's rural fashion tells its own stories. In Eastern Europe, embroidered dresses, woven belts, and folk costumes celebrate heritage, often worn during festivals and dances. In Scandinavia, traditional woolen garments and minimalist modern design reflect a culture rooted in simplicity and functionality, yet always mindful of beauty. Lifestyle, too, varies widely across the continent. In the Mediterranean, life is lived outdoors. Plazas filled with laughter, long meals under the sun, and evenings of music and dance. In Northern Europe, balance and harmony define daily life, with a strong focus on sustainability, nature, and community well-being. Central Europe blends tradition with elegance, where cafe culture, art, and family gatherings form the rhythm of everyday existence. Fashion and lifestyle in Europe are not about luxury alone. They are about identity and values. They express how people see themselves, how they honor their heritage, and how they adapt to a changing world. From runway glamour to village embroidery, from chic cafes to family kitchens, Europe's art of living is a reminder that style is not only worn, it is lived. Europe's story cannot be told without its deep spiritual and religious heritage, which has shaped its landscapes, traditions, and collective identity for millennia. From ancient sacred sites to grand cathedrals, from tribal rituals to modern-day pilgrimages, spirituality in Europe is a tapestry woven from faith, philosophy, and cultural continuity. Long before Christianity, ancient tribes across Europe honored the natural world. The Celts worshipped sacred groves, rivers, and stone circles, leaving behind mysterious sites like Stonehenge. In the north, the Norse gods of Odin and Thor inspired sagas and myths that still echo in Scandinavian culture. The Greeks and Romans laid foundations of spiritual thought, building temples to Zeus, Apollo, and countless deities, while also nurturing philosophies that explored humanity's place in the universe. The arrival of Christianity profoundly transformed Europe. From Rome, it spread outward, building churches, monasteries, and later, soaring Gothic cathedrals like Notre Dame in Paris and Cologne Cathedral in Germany. These sacred spaces became not only places of worship but also centers of learning, art, and music, influencing centuries of European civilization. Pilgrimage routes such as the Camino de Santiago in Spain still draw travelers from around the globe, blending spirituality with discovery. Islamic heritage also flourished in Europe, particularly in Spain, where the Moors left behind architectural wonders such as the Alhambra and the Great Mosque of Cordoba. These masterpieces of design and spirituality represent a time when cultures intersected, exchanging knowledge in science, art, and philosophy. Judaism has ancient roots in Europe as well, with vibrant communities contributing to scholarship, commerce, and cultural life. Despite centuries of persecution, including the tragic events of the Holocaust, Jewish heritage continues to thrive through synagogues, festivals, and living traditions across the continent. In the modern age, Europe's spiritual landscape is diverse and evolving. Traditional faiths remain strong, especially in countries like Poland, Italy, and Greece, where religion still shapes daily life and festivals. Yet Europe also embraces secularism, interfaith dialogue, and alternative spiritualities, reflecting its openness to change and exploration of meaning. Ultimately, Europe's spiritual and religious heritage is not confined to stone walls or ancient texts. It is alive in the rituals, art, music, and values of its people. It tells the story of humanity's search for purpose, belonging, and transcendence, reminding us that beyond borders and centuries, the soul of Europe has always been deeply connected to the sacred. As our journey across Europe draws to a close, one truth becomes clear. This continent is not defined by a single culture, landscape, or tradition, but by the richness of its diversity. From snow-capped mountains and golden beaches to bustling capitals and tranquil villages, Europe is a living mosaic of histories and stories that continue to shape the modern world. Its people, with their languages, dances, fashions, and faiths, remind us that identity is both inherited and ever-changing. Ancient tribes left marks in stone and song, while modern generations add their own rhythms of creativity and innovation. Together they weave a story that is at once timeless and new. Europe's beauty lies not only in its cathedrals, festivals, and art, but also in its simple moments: families sharing meals, villagers preserving traditions, musicians filling squares with song. It is in these everyday expressions that Europe's heart beats strongest. Traveling here is more than sightseeing. It is an invitation to reflect on humanity's shared heritage, to witness how cultures thrive side by side, and to remember that diversity is our greatest strength. Europe, in all its splendor, offers not just a destination but a deeper understanding of life itself.